Designer's technical commentary.
Okay, we're going to start with a PSD file. A PSD is a Photoshop document, which is a layered image file. It was used to make the logo for the magazine with a box and some text. And this was exported directly into the InDesign document as a PSD file, which was useful as most of the Adobe products can read each other's file types. An AI file is a vector graphics file, which is used to create things with lines, points, curves, and polygons, which will be mentioned shortly. These are primarily used in Adobe Illustrator, hence the acronym AI. An INDD file is a page layout document. This is a document that's created in InDesign and can also be opened by Adobe InCopy. My iPad magazine was comprised entirely in InDesign and was then exported using the Folio Builder, which I'll mention later on. A PNG is a portable network graphic file. This file format is good for conserving images for complete visual accuracy, as it is lossless and known for saving transparent photos. I didn't have to use any PNG files in my magazine because they were just normal photos with backgrounds included. A JPG is a Joint Photographic Experts Group file. Despite this abbreviation, it is more commonly referred to as just JPG. These are used for photos or images of photorealistic paintings because they're viewed as actual images. They're also useful in web due to the small file size. With a small file size comes the constraint of it being lossy, so it doesn't really preserve details and isn't very useful for multiple edits because the more times you save over it, the more quality is lost. A way of noticing when quality is lost is when you see compression artifacts in photos with tone fuzziness and general poor quality. A PDF is a portable document format. PDFs are usually electronic images that can be transferred over the internet. They're also documents with one or more pages that can be zoomed in on. You usually see them on web pages, and I save my magazine as a PDF when uploading it onto the Folio Builder. Vector images are used in contrast to raster images and are mainly used up of making art with points, lines, curves, and polygons. Vector images are also primarily made in Illustrator, as that is the application that does it the easiest. However, it can be carried out in Photoshop too, depending on how it's exported. Vectors are completely scalable or resizable without any loss of quality, which is the reason for people's use of them over raster images. My vector image was the border that was seen on the magazine, on the front cover, and in the 3 articles, which will probably be shown here. Raster images are pixel-based and are resolution dependent. This means that raster images cannot be scaled without losing their picture quality. Raster images are more commonly made up of squares which are visible when you zoom in significantly on them. RGB and CMYK are 2 color models that every designer should know. RGB is made up of red, green, and blue and is an additive model, commonly mainly used for online design because red, green, and blue are the colors of each individual pixel on a computer, phone, or tablet screen, so different levels of each color in every pixel determine what color output there is. Additive color refers to adding all of the colors together to create white. On the other hand, CMYK is made up of cyan, magenta, yellow, and key, or black. This is mainly used in printing and is a subtractive color model, as white is achieved when all of the colors are removed, whilst if they were all added together, it creates black. Image capture. Image capture is a way of inserting image-based assets which aren't commonly created on computers. For example, drawings which can be scanned, or photos from digital computers which can be uploaded. Uploading images was a technique I used for my magazine, as it was a photography-based magazine and I had to insert photos of myself and the other model into the magazine.
Workflow and software interface.
Adobe Illustrator as a preference isn't something that I really like using when creating graphics, so I didn't. Photoshop was my main source of creating vector graphics like the border seen on almost all the photos in the magazine, which I mentioned earlier. And after doing what needed to be done in Photoshop, you just have to save from Photoshop as a PSD document and then select File, Place on Illustrator or Command D, which isn't really necessary, but yeah, and scale appropriately, and then it's done. This adds ease of access when sifting through both programs, as you can put in and take out elements whenever necessary. Asset management. File types and titles were crucial whilst carrying out the design process in order for the magazine to be able to come together appropriately. For example, when using the asset graphics, I had to export those as PSD files correctly so that they could be added to the InDesign document with ease. It was quite an ordeal to have to go through each different folder in order to access simple things like one page of the magazine, but it was definitely worth it, knowing that my work was going to be laid out properly. Resolution. The iPad resolution requirement is 2048 by 1536 pixels at 264 pixels per inch, or PPI. For my magazine, the InDesign dimension was half of this at 1024 by 768. And in order to create a product for an iPhone 6, for example, you would have to redesign your document in a different way to corroborate with the resolution of 640 by 1136 rendered pixels. And the same applies for the Samsung Galaxy at 720 by 1280 dimensions and the Kindle Fire with 600 by 1024. That was my designer's technical commentary. Thank you for listening.